She wakes up before the world is loud. Before the phone buzzes. Before the bills, the doubts, the noise of other people's opinions. In that quiet, she does something almost nobody else does. She speaks to her own mind, gently, deliberately, the way a gardener speaks to soil before planting a seed. She does not ask the universe for money. She does not beg, plead, or worry her way into abundance. Instead, she simply remembers who she is. She remembers that she is, as Louise Hay taught, a being of unlimited potential, connected to a power that is always flowing, always available, always generous. For 3 minutes, she sits with her hand on her heart and tells herself the truth, that she is worthy of wealth, that money loves her, that the universe is lavish and she is allowed to receive its gifts. She does not rush. She lets the words settle into her body like rain settling into dry earth. She is not performing affirmations. She is reprogramming a lifetime of scarcity thinking, one sentence, one breath, one belief at a time. This is not magic. This is mechanics. The mind that wakes up first, before the world floods it with fear, has the rare chance to set the frequency for everything that follows. She knows that whatever she focuses on in those first waking moments becomes the lens through which she sees her entire day, and her entire day becomes the brick that builds her entire life. So she chooses wealth. She chooses ease. She chooses to feel rich before she has a single dollar more than yesterday, because Louise Hay knew, and taught for decades, that the feeling always comes before the having. Today, you are going to learn exactly what she does. 3 minutes. Every morning. A practice so simple you will wonder why no one taught it to you sooner, and so powerful that once you begin, you may never want to skip a single day again. Louise Hay spent her life teaching one radical idea: your thoughts create your reality, and your relationship with money is no exception. She believed that wealth was not something you chased, it was something you became aligned with. Long before manifestation became a popular word, Louise was quietly transforming lives through the simple, repeated use of affirmations, self-love, and the conscious direction of thought. She did not see abundance as a stroke of luck reserved for the chosen few. She saw it as a natural state, something every person was entitled to by birth, blocked only by old beliefs absorbed in childhood, in fear, in scarcity-based thinking passed down like an inheritance nobody asked for. This video is built around one of her most powerful teachings, that your morning sets the tone for your entire reality. The first few minutes after waking are sacred. In that half-asleep state, your subconscious mind is wide open, soft, and deeply impressionable, far more receptive than at any other point in the day. Whatever thoughts you feed it in those minutes sink in deeply, almost without resistance. This is why so many people who wake up anxious, checking notifications, scrolling through bad news, spend their entire day fighting an invisible undertow of stress. They have, often without realizing it, set their financial and emotional frequency to scarcity before they have even brushed their teeth. Louise Hay offered an alternative. A short, deliberate, loving ritual, just 3 minutes, designed to interrupt the autopilot of fear and replace it with the steady hum of abundance. This is not about reciting words you don't believe. It is about gently, patiently, and consistently building a new internal environment, one where wealth feels natural rather than impossible. In this video, you will discover the exact morning practice Louise Hay's teachings inspire, the mindset behind it, the affirmations that carry real transformative weight, the physical and emotional posture that makes them effective, and the daily structure that turns 3 minutes into a life-altering habit. Across 7 chapters, we will walk through the philosophy, the science of belief, the practical steps, the emotional shifts, the common blocks people face, and how to sustain this practice long enough for it to truly change your financial reality. By the end, you will not just understand wealth energy intellectually. You will know, in your body, exactly how to step into it starting tomorrow morning. The power of the first 3 minutes. The moment you open your eyes each morning, your brain is still moving between sleep and full wakefulness, resting in what is often called the theta state. This is the same brainwave state associated with deep meditation and hypnosis. Louise Hay often spoke about how impressionable the mind is in this in-between state, comparing it to soft clay that can be shaped before it hardens into the rigid thought patterns of a fully alert day. Most people unknowingly waste this golden window by reaching for their phone, absorbing news, messages, and the opinions of others before they have set a single intention of their own. When you fill those first moments with fear, comparison, or worry about finances, you are essentially planting weeds in freshly turned soil, weeds that will grow alongside you for the rest of the day. Louise believed that the subconscious mind does not distinguish between a truth and a repeated thought, it simply absorbs what is given to it consistently and treats it as reality. This means 3 minutes of deliberate, wealth-affirming thought each morning can begin to override years of inherited scarcity beliefs, simply through consistent repetition at the most receptive time of day. The practice is not about denying your current circumstances. It is about refusing to let your current circumstances dictate your internal state before you have even chosen it for yourself. 3 minutes might sound insignificant in a 24-hour day, but multiplied across a year, it becomes more than 18 hours of pure, focused reprogramming toward abundance. Louise often reminded her students that small, consistent actions create far more lasting change than occasional bursts of intense effort, because the subconscious responds to repetition, not intensity. This chapter sets the foundation. Your morning is not just the start of your day, it is the architect of your entire relationship with money, and 3 minutes is all it takes to begin redesigning it. Why money mirrors self-worth. Louise Hay taught that financial struggle is rarely about money itself, it is almost always a mirror reflecting a deeper belief about one's own worthiness to receive. Many people unconsciously believe they must struggle, sacrifice, or suffer before they are allowed to have wealth, a belief often inherited from parents, culture, or early experiences of lack. This is why simply working harder does not always create more abundance. If the underlying belief is, "I don't deserve more," the nervous system will often find ways to sabotage success. The morning practice begins by addressing this root cause directly, using gentle affirmations of self-worth before ever mentioning money, because worth must be established before wealth can be received. Louise's famous teaching, "I am open and receptive to all good," was never meant to manifest money instantly, but to soften the inner resistance that blocks money from flowing in the first place. When you tell yourself each morning that you are worthy, valuable, and deserving, you are not being arrogant. You are correcting a distortion that was likely placed there by someone else's fear. Self-worth and net worth are deeply connected, not because money defines your value, but because your belief in your value determines how much abundance you allow yourself to receive. People who feel fundamentally unworthy often give money away quickly, undercharge for their work, or sabotage opportunities, not from carelessness but from an unconscious need to stay within their comfort zone of lack. The 3-minute practice interrupts this cycle by anchoring a new baseline each morning. I am worthy, I am valuable, I am allowed to receive, before the day's challenges have a chance to reinforce the old story. Wealth energy, then, is not chasing money. It is becoming a person who, in their bones, believes they are worthy of it, and money simply responds to that shift. The mirror work connection. One of Louise Hay's most iconic teachings was mirror work, the practice of looking into your own eyes and speaking loving, affirming words directly to yourself. While the morning wealth practice does not require a mirror, the same principle applies. Speaking directly and intimately to yourself creates a depth of belief that distant or impersonal affirmations cannot achieve. If you choose to use a mirror during your 3 minutes, look at your own eyes and say your wealth affirmations as though speaking to someone you deeply love and want to reassure. Louise believed the eyes were a direct window to the subconscious mind, and that affirmations spoken while making eye contact with yourself land with far greater emotional impact. Many people feel awkward or even emotional the first time they try this, which is often a sign of how disconnected they have become from genuine self-acceptance. That if tears come while practicing mirror work around money, this is not a failure of the technique. It is old grief and fear finally finding a safe space to surface and release. Over time, the discomfort fades, replaced by a quiet, steady warmth, the feeling of finally being on your own side after years of internal criticism. You can combine mirror work with your 3-minute morning ritual a few times a week, even if you choose simpler seated affirmation for the rest, allowing both depth and consistency. Louise often said that the relationship you have with yourself sets the template for every other relationship in your life, including your relationship with money. A morning practice that includes even occasional mirror work accelerates the shift into wealth energy because it directly targets the self-image that money is always responding to. Choosing the right affirmations. Not all affirmations carry equal power. Louise Hay taught that the most effective affirmations feel believable enough to accept, yet expansive enough to stretch your current beliefs. If an affirmation feels completely false to you, such as suddenly declaring you are a millionaire, your mind will reject it, creating resistance instead of receptivity. Instead, Louise often recommended bridge affirmations, statements that feel like a stretch but not a lie, such as, "I am open to new and creative ways money comes to me." A few foundational wealth affirmations inspired by her teachings include, "Money flows to me easily and effortlessly," and "I am worthy of abundance in all forms." Another powerful line is, "The more I appreciate what I have, the more I am given," which connects gratitude directly to the flow of future abundance. "I am one with the power that created me, and that power is unlimited," reminds you that your supply is not bound to a single job, paycheck, or person. Choose 3 to 5 affirmations for your morning practice rather than overwhelming yourself with a long list, allowing each one room to truly sink in. Speak them slowly, out loud if possible, since the sound of your own voice affirming abundance reinforces the message through both auditory and internal channels. Revisit your affirmations every few weeks. As your beliefs shift, you may need to evolve your statements to match your new, expanding comfort with receiving. The goal is not to memorize perfect words, but to choose language that genuinely softens your resistance and opens a small, honest door toward greater receiving. The physical posture of receiving. Louise Hay often emphasized that the body and mind are deeply connected, and how you physically hold yourself during affirmations influences how deeply they are absorbed. Begin your 3 minutes seated upright, feet on the floor, spine relaxed but tall, as though you are already someone who comfortably commands respect and resources. Place one or both hands gently over your heart. This simple gesture signals safety to your nervous system, making your mind far more receptive to new beliefs. Breathe slowly and deeply before speaking your affirmations. A regulated nervous system absorbs new beliefs far more easily than one still activated by stress or urgency. Avoid clenched fists, crossed arms, or a hunched posture, all of which physically mirror contraction and lack, working against the expansive energy you are trying to cultivate. Some people find it helpful to slightly open their palms upward in their lap, a subtle gesture that mirrors the energy of receiving rather than grasping or guarding. Smiling gently, even if it feels forced at first, signals safety to the brain and softens resistance to the abundant beliefs you are introducing. If you have access to natural morning light, sit near a window. Light exposure early in the day supports mood regulation, which in turn supports belief flexibility. The body remembers patterns. Practicing the same posture daily creates a physical anchor that, over time, can instantly shift your internal state the moment you sit in it. Wealth energy is not only spoken, it is embodied. The way you sit, breathe, and hold yourself each morning becomes a quiet rehearsal for how you carry yourself in the world. Common blocks and how to move through them. Many people begin this practice with great enthusiasm, then quietly abandon it after a few days when they don't see immediate financial results. Louise Hay taught that healing old beliefs is rarely instant. Years of scarcity thinking were not built in a day and will not dissolve in one either. A common block is guilt around wanting more, especially for those raised to believe that desiring wealth is selfish, greedy, or spiritually impure. If this resistance arises, gently remind yourself that abundance allows you to give more generously, live more freely, and support others more fully, not less. Another frequent obstacle is comparing your morning practice to someone else's visible success, forgetting that internal transformation is invisible long before it becomes external. Some mornings, the affirmations will feel hollow or mechanical. This is normal. Continue speaking them anyway, as consistency matters more than how convincing each individual repetition feels. If old, fearful thoughts intrude during your 3 minutes, do not fight them. Simply acknowledge them, thank them for trying to protect you, and return gently to your chosen words. Skipping a day is not failure. Louise Hay's teachings centered on self-compassion as much as discipline. Simply begin again the next morning without self-criticism. Some people unconsciously sabotage their own progress out of fear of change, even positive change. Awareness of this pattern alone often begins to loosen its grip. Trust that resistance is simply old programming defending itself. Each time you continue despite the resistance, you weaken its hold and strengthen your new, abundant identity. Letting the practice expand your whole day. Louise Hay believed that morning affirmations were not meant to stay contained within 3 minutes, but to color the emotional tone of everything that follows. As you move through your day, notice moments where old scarcity thoughts arise, and gently return to the feeling you cultivated that morning, even if only for a few seconds. Carry one phrase from your morning practice with you, repeating it silently while commuting, waiting in line, or facing a stressful financial decision. Notice small synergies between your morning intention and your daily experience: an unexpected discount, a returned debt, a generous gesture, and consciously acknowledge them as evidence of shifting energy. Louise often encouraged keeping a small notebook to record these moments, training your mind to actively notice abundance rather than only registering lack. Over weeks, you may notice your reactions to bills, unexpected expenses, or financial setbacks softening, replaced by a steadier, more trusting internal response. This shift is not denial of real financial responsibility, but a change in the emotional charge surrounding money, allowing clearer, calmer decisions instead of panic-driven ones. As your inner experience of money becomes calmer and more trusting, your outer choices, your spending, saving, negotiating, and risk-taking, naturally begin to shift as well. 3 minutes each morning becomes the seed, but your daily attentiveness to evidence of abundance becomes the water and sunlight that allow that seed to grow. In time, what once required deliberate effort each morning becomes simply who you are, a person whose natural state is one of worthiness, openness, and quiet, steady wealth energy. Louise Hay never promised that affirmations alone would deposit money directly into your bank account overnight. What she promised, through decades of teaching and through the transformed lives of countless students, was something deeper and ultimately more powerful, a shift in the very foundation from which all your financial decisions, opportunities, and relationships would spring. 3 minutes each morning is not a magic spell. It is a quiet, consistent act of self-respect, a daily decision to interrupt inherited fear and replace it, sentence by sentence, with the truth of your own worthiness. If you choose to begin this practice tomorrow morning, do not expect perfection. Some days the words will feel powerful and true. Other days they will feel distant, even unconvincing. Continue anyway. Louise Hay's own life was not free of struggle, yet she returned again and again to these simple tools, trusting that consistency would do what intensity could not. Your wealth energy is not built in a single dramatic moment. It is built quietly, in the privacy of your own bedroom, before the world has a chance to tell you who you are or what you deserve. So tomorrow, when you wake, resist the pull of the phone for just 3 minutes longer. Place your hand on your heart. Breathe. And tell yourself, gently but firmly, that you are worthy, that abundance is your natural state, and that money, like everything else in this generous universe, is simply love in another form, flowing toward you the moment you finally believe you deserve it.